What if I told you that the world's most successful people, CEOs, athletes, artists, and leaders do not simply wake up early because they are disciplined? They wake up early because that quiet hour before sunrise holds the key to mastery. Imagine having uninterrupted time to build your mind, strengthen your body, and connect with your soul before the world even opens its eyes. But here is the question: what if the real secret to success is not what you do, but when you do it? In the AM Club, Robin Sharma reveals a revolutionary truth. Winning your mornings is the gateway to transforming your entire life. This is not a productivity hack or a time management trick. It is a philosophy, a spiritual, mental, and emotional transformation that separates the average from the legendary. Through a story about a struggling artist, a frustrated entrepreneur, and a mysterious billionaire mentor, Sharma unveils how the victory hour can rewire your mind, body, and soul to reach your highest potential. And it all begins with one simple act: waking up at AM. Before proceeding to the book summary, if you are new to my channel and not subscribed yet, then please subscribe to my channel and do not forget to hit the bell icon so you get notification for next amazing book summary on time. Let's begin the summary. Chapter 1: The Dangerous Deed. 2-3 minutes. What happens when life pushes you to your breaking point, when success feels impossible and your passion fades into routine? That is exactly where the AM Club begins. A public seminar, a restless crowd, and two lost souls searching for meaning: an artist and an entrepreneur who no longer believe in themselves. They have come to hear a world-famous motivational speaker, the spellbinder, who promises to share the one secret that can change their lives forever. The spellbinder takes the stage, and his message strikes deep. The smallest of actions is always better than the noblest of intentions. He challenges the audience to rise above distraction, to stop living like amateurs, and to step into greatness by mastering their mornings. But as he speaks, something unexpected happens. He collapses mid-speech, leaving the crowd in chaos. Among the confusion, the artist and the entrepreneur meet a disheveled, barefoot man who claims to be a billionaire. They think he is homeless, but his calm confidence hints otherwise. This encounter, this dangerous deed of following a stranger, becomes the moment their lives change forever. The billionaire offers them a mysterious invitation. Meet me tomorrow at AM. I will show you how the great ones start their day. It sounds insane, but something about his eyes, his peace, pulls them in. Would you wake up at AM to follow a barefoot stranger you just met? The artist and entrepreneur take that leap of faith. And in Chapter 2, their world turns upside down. Chapter 2: A Daily Philosophy on Becoming Legendary. Have you ever wondered why most people dream of greatness but never achieve it? The artist and the entrepreneur are about to discover that success is not built in grand moments, it is sculpted in daily discipline. At the seminar's end, as the spellbinder is carried off the stage, his words echo: "Own your morning, elevate your life." Those words haunt the artist all night. And before dawn, curiosity wins. At exactly AM, the two show up, unsure of what to expect. The mysterious billionaire greets them, barefoot again, smiling as if he already knows their fears. He begins to teach them a truth that most people avoid: that mediocrity is not a condition, it is a choice. He explains that the difference between the masses and the masters lies in how they start their day. Ordinary people waste their mornings on phones, news, and noise. Legends dedicate their mornings to building themselves physically, mentally, and spiritually. He says, while the rest of the world sleeps, you will rise, you will think, reflect, grow, and move. Because success does not start with action, it starts with awareness. The artist and the entrepreneur begin to see it. The AM hour is not just time, it is territory where the mind is quiet and the soul can think. But can they truly do it? Can they rewire years of habits and resistance? The billionaire smiles and says, "Tomorrow we fly. Where to?" That mystery unfolds in Chapter 3. Chapter 3, an unexpected encounter with a surprising stranger. Would you board a private jet with a man you barely know just because he promised to change your life? That is exactly what the artist and entrepreneur do next. Their adventure begins before sunrise, as the billionaire whisks them away to Mauritius, a paradise that will become their classroom. On the flight, the billionaire finally reveals who he truly is. A business icon who built an empire not through luck, but through rituals of mastery. He explains that waking at AM gave him the time to train his body, sharpen his focus, and connect to his purpose. He confesses he once lived like everyone else, overwhelmed, distracted, reactive, until he discovered the sacred quiet of the morning hour. That solitude became the forge for his fortune. He shares the first universal truth. The way you start your day determines how you live your day, and the way you live your days determines how you live your life. The two students begin to sense that this journey is not about learning new information, it is about unlearning the habits that keep them small. But how can two ordinary people transform into high performers? The billionaire says, to rise, you must first let go. What does he mean by that? The answer comes in Chapter 4, where the true battle begins not with the world, but within. Chapter 4, letting go of mediocrity and all that is ordinary. Every person dreams of greatness, yet most settle for average. Why? Because mediocrity feels safe. In Chapter 4, the billionaire teaches his new students the painful truth. You cannot rise to your best self while clinging to your old self. In Mauritius, the mornings begin with silence. The ocean whispers, the air is still. At AM sharp, the billionaire gathers them under the golden sunrise and says, everything you want is on the other side of your comfort. He explains that greatness is not reserved for the chosen few, it is available to anyone who chooses consistency over comfort, but that choice demands sacrifice. He asks them to eliminate distractions, social media, gossip, toxic relationships, and excuses. He calls these weapons of mass distraction. He reminds them, ordinary people are addicted to distraction. Extraordinary people are obsessed with focus. The artist realizes her creativity has been buried beneath comparison and fear. The entrepreneur sees that chasing money without meaning has left him hollow. Both begin to see that mediocrity is not their destiny, it is simply their habit. But awareness is not transformation. The billionaire smiles and says, tomorrow I will show you how to escape the grip of average and enter the realm of mastery. Chapter 5, a bizarre adventure into morning mastery. What if your daily routine was silently destroying your potential? That is what the billionaire helps the artist and entrepreneur discover next. He takes them on an early morning hike barefoot through sand and forest, forcing them to feel discomfort, to reconnect with reality beyond their screens and comfort zones. As dawn paints the sky, the billionaire teaches that mastery is not about information, it is about transformation. He reveals that the greatest battle every human faces is against their own resistance. He explains the principle of the twin lives. One life is ruled by fear, comfort, and excuses. The other is ruled by growth, courage, and self-mastery. Every morning at AM, you must decide which life you will feed. He shares a line that pierces their hearts. All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. That is the process of greatness, the discomfort of growth that most people never endure long enough to reach the beauty on the other side. The billionaire pushes them to sweat, to stumble, to think, because only through struggle do they strengthen the muscles of discipline. By the end of the hike, they are exhausted, but something has shifted inside them. The billionaire says, now you are ready to learn the science behind this magic. That promise unfolds in Chapter 6. Chapter 6, a flight to peak productivity, virtuosity, and utopian health. What if you could train your brain to enter a state of genius on demand? As they board the jet once again, the billionaire begins teaching how high performers achieve superhuman focus, health, and peace not by luck, but through deliberate rhythm. He introduces the concept of the victory hour, the sacred first hour after waking at AM. He divides it into three 20-minute blocks that create unstoppable momentum for the day. 20 minutes for move intense exercise to activate dopamine and endorphins. 20 minutes for reflect journaling, meditation, gratitude. 20 minutes for grow learning, reading, visualizing goals. He calls it the 20-20-20 formula, the foundation of his empire and vitality. He teaches them that success is not about managing time, it is about managing energy. And energy is born from self-care, exercise, focus, and purpose-driven work. He says, while others waste their mornings reacting to the world, you will be creating it. The artist feels alive again. The entrepreneur begins to believe he can rebuild his empire. But the billionaire warns, transformation requires preparation. And that is exactly where Chapter 7 begins. Chapter 7, Preparation for Transformation. Every revolution starts with a decision, but preparation makes it last. The billionaire explains that before they can become members of the AM Club, they must, he compares transformation to renovating a house. If you try to build on weak foundations, everything collapses under pressure. Likewise, most people chase new habits without changing their internal identity, so their progress crumbles. He introduces the concept of the four interior empires: mindset, the quality of your thoughts; heartset, the depth of your emotional life; healthset, the strength of your body; soulset, your connection to spirit and purpose. He teaches that true greatness comes from mastering all four, not just the mind. He tells them, a brilliant mind with a broken heart is a tragedy. A fit body with an empty soul is still a failure. The preparation is not about waking early, it is about aligning all parts of who you are. The billionaire ends the lesson by saying, when you master your inner world, the outer world follows. The artist feels tears rise. The entrepreneur feels hope, their next step. Understanding how this mysterious AM system truly works, that mystery unfolds in Chapter 8. Chapter 8, the AM Club concept. The morning routine of world builders. What do the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, and creators have in common? They all protect one sacred hour, the hour before the sun rises. In this chapter, the billionaire reveals the full blueprint of the AM Club concept. He teaches that AM is not just a time, it is a psychological trigger. At that hour, the brain's chemistry is at its best for focus, creativity, and clarity. Cortisol levels drop. Dopamine rises, and the quiet of dawn becomes a temple for genius. He says, the moment most people waste scrolling through their phones, the top 5% of performers are sculpting their future. He urges them to treat AM like a sacred meeting with themselves. No phone, no distractions, just purpose. That first hour determines the tone, energy, and direction of every day. He emphasizes that consistency is what separates amateurs from masters. Do it for one day, it changes your day. Do it for 1 month, it changes your habits. Do it for 1 year, it changes your life. The artist and entrepreneur now understand the what and why, but they are still missing the how, the step-by-step process to make it a lasting habit. That secret begins in Chapter 9, the Victory Hour Formula. Chapter 9, the Victory Hour Formula. What if one single hour every morning could give you more focus, energy, and peace than most people experience all week? The billionaire calls it the Victory Hour, and this is where the science of transformation meets the art of mastery. At AM sharp, the first 60 minutes of your day decide everything. The billionaire divides this hour into 3 sacred blocks: the 20-20-20 formula, 1 move 5005, 20 exercise intensely, sweat, release dopamine, and activate your brain's feel-good chemistry, Movement not only boosts mood but also releases BDN, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which repairs and grows brain cells. To reflect 5, 25, 40. This is your quiet space for journaling, meditating, and setting your daily intentions. It is where gratitude replaces anxiety and clarity replaces confusion. 3. Grow 5, 46. Read, study, or visualize your biggest goals. Feed your mind so that it stays sharper than everyone else's. The billionaire calls it the hour of immortality because what you do here compounds for decades. He reminds them, while the rest of the world sleeps in mediocrity, you rise in mastery. The two students begin to feel a shift, but the billionaire warns, winning this hour means nothing if you do not first win your inner world. That truth becomes the foundation of Chapter 10. Chapter 10, the 4 interior empires. Most people think success starts with mindset, but the billionaire says, mindset is just 1/4 of the equation. In this chapter, he reveals the 4 empires every human must build to achieve wholeness, not just wealth. He explains that the most successful people in history mastered these 4 interior empires. Mindset: the way you think determines the way you act. Guard your thoughts like treasure. Heartset: emotional healing is essential. You cannot build a legendary life with a broken heart. Healthset: your body is your instrument of performance. Sleep, nutrition, and movement are sacred rituals. Soulset: connection to purpose, gratitude, service to something greater than yourself. He teaches that most people chase external success while neglecting these 4 pillars, leading to burnout, emptiness, and unhappiness. The artist feels awakened. The entrepreneur realizes that he has achieved wealth but lost his soul. The billionaire concludes, success without inner peace is failure in disguise. They finally understand why the AM hour matters. But how do you make it a permanent part of your life? The answer lies in habit installation, revealed in Chapter 11. Chapter 11, the habit installation protocol. Why do most people fail to stick to new habits? Because they chase results, not rituals. In this chapter, the billionaire unveils the psychology behind lasting change. He introduces the 66-day habit installation protocol, a scientific approach to rewiring your behavior. He divides these 66 days into 3 distinct phases. 1. Destruction days, 1-22. The old you must die. You feel pain, resistance, and frustration. 2. Installation days, 23-44. You feel chaos. The new habit has not yet become automatic. 3. Integration days, 45-66. The habit becomes part of your identity, effortless and natural. He explains that your brain resists change because it craves familiarity. But if you endure discomfort long enough, your neural pathways reshape and you evolve. He says all change is painful at first, messy in the middle, and beautiful at the end. The same line he once spoke in Mauritius now returns as prophecy. The artist begins her AM routine with trembling hands. The entrepreneur struggles against old habits. Can they truly last 66 days? The billionaire smiles and says, let us test your limits. That test begins in Chapter 12. Chapter 12, the 66-day minimum. Everyone wants transformation, but few have the patience for the process. The billionaire reminds them, legendary is a lifetime sport. In this chapter, he deepens the lesson of consistency and long-term mastery. He tells them that the minimum time to build a new identity is 66 days, but the real magic happens after 90. Why? Because repetition rewires the subconscious mind. He shares the neural loop principle. Every time you repeat a behavior, the brain strengthens the circuit that supports it. Do it enough times, and your new identity becomes automatic. He also introduces the 3-step cycle of growth. Learning, you acquire knowledge. Implementation, you practice daily. Integration, you become the habit. He warns them against the danger of premature optimization, quitting when it gets hard. True masters stay the course long after motivation fades. At this point, both students are transforming, but the billionaire says, "You have trained your mind and body. Now let me teach you how to master your hours." That begins in chapter 13, where the secret science of the 20-20-20 formula is fully revealed. Chapter 13, the 20-20-20 formula explained. Have you ever wondered why the 20-20-20 formula works so powerfully? In this chapter, the billionaire breaks down the science behind this simple yet life-changing system. He explains that the first 20 minutes release dopamine and serotonin, natural chemicals that activate motivation and joy. Physical motion changes emotional state. The second 20 minutes lowers cortisol, clears mental fog, and reconnects you to gratitude. And the final 20 minutes triggers neuroplasticity, expanding your mind and creativity. He says, you cannot lead others until you first lead yourself. And the AM ritual is self-leadership in action. He also reminds them that balance is key. Without sleep, nutrition, or recovery, the AM habit becomes punishment, not power. The goal is not just productivity, it is harmony. The billionaire ends the day with a smile. Now you understand the system, but next you will learn how to protect your focus and manage energy like a genius. And that is where chapter 14 begins, the power of the Heartset, Mindset, Healthset, and Soulset. Chapter 14, the power of the Heartset, Mindset, Healthset, and Soulset. What if success was not about how much you do, but how deeply you live? The billionaire now leads the artist and entrepreneur through the most profound lesson of all, the harmony of the four interior empires. He takes them to a secluded beach at dawn. The sunrise glows like fire on the horizon. He tells them that a legendary life demands more than intelligence. It demands emotional depth, physical vitality, and spiritual grounding. He says, mindset builds your thoughts, heartset heals your emotions, Healthset fuels your energy, Soulset gives you purpose. He explains that each morning your AM ritual must nurture all four empires, because when your heart is healed, your mind is calm. When your body is strong, your purpose expands. He shares a truth that silences them. You cannot inspire others when you are empty yourself. This balance is what makes greatness sustainable. The artist feels her creativity bloom again. The entrepreneur feels inner peace he has never known before. But the billionaire warns, even the greatest warriors need rest. Their next lesson is about cycles, how to recover like the world's elite performers. That lesson begins in chapter 15. Chapter 15, the twin cycles of elite performance. What if working less could actually make you achieve more? The billionaire now reveals one of the most misunderstood truths about success, the rhythm of the twin cycles of elite performance. He explains that high achievers operate into alternating cycles. One, the high excellence cycle, where you create, work, and perform with intensity, to the deep recovery cycle, where you rest, reflect, and renew your energy. He says the world praises hustle but ignores recovery. That is why so many burn out before they ever reach mastery. He teaches that true productivity is not about endless effort, it is about balanced renewal. Even top athletes and thinkers protect their recovery time as fiercely as their work time. The lesson is simple: without rest, progress becomes destruction. The billionaire instructs them to schedule silence, solitude, and nature into their days just as deliberately as meetings or goals. The two students realize that mastery is not a sprint, it is a symphony. But the billionaire is not done. He now unveils the tactical systems that geniuses use daily. That begins in chapter 16. Chapter 16, the 10 tactics of lifelong genius. If you could borrow the daily habits of geniuses, what would you learn? In this chapter, the billionaire unveils the 10 tools he calls the 10 tactics of lifelong genius. He lists and explains each one with precision. 1. The tight bubble of total focus. Protect your attention like gold. 2. The 90-91 rule for 90 days. Spend the first 90 minutes on your single most important project. 3. The 60-10ths method. Work in focused 60-minute bursts, then take a 10-minute renewal break. For the daily 5 concept every day, commit to 5 small victories. 5. The second wind workout exercise again in the evening to boost recovery and creativity. 6. The 2 massage protocol physical renewal sharpens performance. 7. Traffic university. Use commuting time to learn via audiobooks or courses. 8. The dream team technique. Surround yourself with people who elevate your standards. 9. The weekly design system. Plan your week every Sunday morning with clarity and intention. The 60-minute student. Spend at least 1 hour daily learning something new. He explains that mastery is not built by grand actions, but by small, consistent rituals done daily with devotion. The artist and entrepreneur are now transformed in thought and discipline. But the billionaire smiles and says, there is still one final mountain, the legacy you will leave behind. That mountain appears in Chapter 17. Chapter 17, The Eternal Gifts of the AM Club. What if your morning routine could outlive you? The billionaire teaches his final philosophy, the eternal gifts of the AM Club. He explains that the AM Club gives 3 timeless treasures. 1. Freedom from distraction and chaos. You become the master of your day. 2. Peace, stillness becomes your superpower. The noise of the world no longer rules you. 3. Power, you become unstoppable, not because of ego, but because of alignment. He tells them, when you own your morning, you own your life. And when you master yourself, you elevate the world. The billionaire reflects that the greatest legacy is not wealth or fame, it is the lives you uplift. The artist now paints again with purpose. The entrepreneur builds businesses with heart. The lessons are nearly complete, but one final message awaits, one that ties the story together and seals their transformation. It is written not in words, but in letters. That moment unfolds in Chapter 18. Chapter 18, the 11 letters to the AM Club members as the journey nears its end. The billionaire hands the artist and entrepreneurial ether journal. Inside are 11 handwritten letters, the distillation of his life's wisdom. Each letter carries a timeless principle: love your solitude, protect your energy, serve humanity through your craft, live with intention, not reaction. Do not chase success, become valuable. Never forget the childlike wonder inside you. He writes, do not live the same year 75 times and call it a life. These letters are his final gift, a compass for their future. Through tears, the artist and entrepreneur realize that they are no longer students, they are the new teachers of the philosophy. As the sun rises over Mauritius one last time, the billionaire whispers, my work is done. Now yours begins. And with that, his farewell begins. In Chapter 19, the farewell. Every story has an ending, but the greatest endings are beginnings in disguise. The billionaire prepares to leave Mauritius, leaving behind 2 students who are no longer who they were. He tells them that the true reward of mastery is becoming the teacher yourself. The artist finds her purpose again. Her paintings now reflect peace and strength. The entrepreneur rebuilds his business with empathy and purpose. They wake at AM not because they must, but because they love the person they become in that silence. The billionaire vanishes quietly, as mysteriously as he appeared, but his words echo forever. Own your morning, elevate your life. That single philosophy has now become their destiny. Conclusion. And that, my friend, is the story of the AM Club. A journey from chaos to clarity, from distraction to discipline, from mediocrity to mastery. Robin Sharma does not just teach a schedule, he teaches a philosophy of living intentionally, one sunrise at a time. So if you have ever felt lost, distracted, or unmotivated, remember this: you do not need a new life, you just need a new morning. Because the world belongs to those who rise before it does. If this summary moved you, make tomorrow your first AM morning. And if you want more powerful summaries like this one, subscribe now and comment below what would you do with an extra hour every morning.